Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Gary, and today I have 3 more apple varieties that I picked up at my local farmers market called HoWhich, and we're going to talk about an older variety called Cortland, and this one's one I've never seen before. This one's called SnapDragon, and then the final one is called SugarBee, and we'll start off talking about this one. SugarBee is believed to be the result of an accidental cross between Honeycrisp and some other variety, unnamed variety, so they don't really know its complete parentage. There are nearly 200 growers in the state of Washington that are growing this particular variety. The way I would describe this is it's a round or conical shaped apple, bright yellow. You can see more yellow in this one right here. And it's speckled with a red blush. And how much red you have in it depends on how much sunlight it gets or if it's exposed to frost during the ripening period. The surface is smooth and glossy with shallow ridges, and you can see the lenticels pretty easily on the outside of this apple. They're little like whitish spots. Now, because it has a parentage of Honeycrisp, this is a crispy apple. It's sweet with a hint of caramel in the taste. And we'll check that out in just a second and see if it's true. It's a fairly sweet apple. The Brix level is 13.7 to 16.2, and that makes it sweeter than Honeycrisp. So let's take a little taste and see. You can see the inner flesh here. It's kind of a yellowish white. First bite, I did not taste any caramel at all. Nope. It's a mild flavor, but I can't really say that I'm tasting caramel. Of course, it would be understated, but I'm not detecting caramel at all in this. It is available in October. When you store it in your refrigerator, it should last up to 6 weeks under ideal conditions. And ideal conditions would be in plastic bags with little round holes in them and in the vegetable crisper set for fruits. Now you might ask, can I buy this tree to grow up myself? No, it is what's called a club variety, which means you have to be among a grower group that is selected to grow this, and they have various controls on quality, and you make some agreements with the association that allows you to grow the trees. So a homeowner can't just grow one of these at home, and that's just the way it is. A lot of new varieties are club varieties. And even though this was started back in the 1990s, it still would be considered a relatively new cultivar. I would say SugarBee is a pleasant apple, but I wouldn't run down to the store and say, I have to have this variety. But it is decent. Let's move on to our next one. This is SnapDragon, and Honeycrisp is also in its parentage. It's a cross between Honeycrisp and an advanced selection of a variety that was growing in New York, whose parents were Golden Delicious, and also a cross between Monroe and Melrose. And this cultivar was developed at Cornell University in 1998. They characterize this as having a monster crush. So before I go any further, I'm going to taste this. It is quite crunchy. Now, these apples have not been sitting around. I just bought them today. It's a little bit more acidic or tart in the background, which I like. It has a fuller flavor. When I bit into this, right away I said, I like this. Not as sweet as the SugarBee, but still sweet enough for me. They say it has a sweet, spicy flavor, and it took them about 10 years to develop this cultivar. I didn't taste any spice, but let me try it again. When I think about spice, I'm thinking about cinnamon, cloves, allspice, nutmeg, that type of thing. I'm not identifying any hint of that type of thing, but it does have a flavor that reaches out and touches your tongue. I like this one much better than SugarBee. if I was rating SugarBee 1 to 10, and I considered 7 a pleasant apple, I'd give SugarBee a 7.5. This one I'd probably give an 8 to an 8.5. It does have nice flavor. I like that balance between the sweetness and the tartness. And as you can see, it's a very red apple. And of course, how red it is depends on how much light exposure it has in the orchard. It's considered a medium to large apple, slightly oval. They say a flattened finish on the bottom. This to me is shaped more like a red delicious apple. The flesh color, as you can see here, is a pale cream to light yellow in color. And they say it's extra sweet. I didn't think this was as sweet as Honeycrisp or Cosmic Crisp, but it's sweet enough. I like that balance. Now they also say it has a hint of vanilla and spice. I didn't taste vanilla either. It's a good taste, but I can't say that I'm tasting vanilla or spice, but it is a very tasty apple. The Brix level is between 14 and 17, which is really good for an apple. And this one is available around late September through January. And it can be stored 3 to 4 months under ideal conditions. But again, this is a club variety and you can't buy the trees. The two I've tasted so far, I definitely would eat more Snapdragons. I really do like this apple. The last apple that I have is also developed from the New York State Agricultural Experiment Station. But this one was developed in 1898. So this one will be considered heirloom apple. Its parentage is a cross between McIntosh and Ben Davis. Now if you know anything about McIntosh, once they're picked they get mealy pretty quickly. That's the case with this apple also. Red skin is kind of a striking red skin. It almost looks like it has stripes. Dark red, sometimes it can take on a purplish hue. Sometimes it will have green and yellow undertones. It's a medium to large round apple. Slightly flattened in its appearance. And the flesh of Cortland is bright white. Let's take a quick look. Yeah, that's pretty bright white, all right. And the other thing about this bright white flesh is it doesn't oxidize very quickly at all. So half hour later, it's still going to be pretty much white. Cortland apples are said to have a balanced flavor that combines a mild sweetness with a refreshing tartness. So let's check it out. I agree with what they say about its taste. It does have a nice tartness, not too sweet, but because of the parentage of McIntosh, it's already mealy. So about the only thing that I would use this apple for at this point is for making an applesauce. The Brix level for Cortland is 12 to 14 and the harvest season is usually mid to late September, depending on the region. Can you buy the trees? Yes, you can buy the trees. And they're well suited for regions with cold winters like the northeastern United States and parts of Canada. I hope this has been helpful to you. I have some other videos that review various cultivars and please check them out. If you get a chance, please give me a like and subscribe. And that's all for today. This is Gary saying goodbye.